Snyder's making a DC game. Let's fucking go. Stay safe right there and peace out. Welcome to another Snyder Fans Read Comics live stream, guys. I'm your host, Taladia Plays. Welcome on in. And before we do, obviously, got to bring on my co-host at the time. Let's bring on Comics League. So let's bring him in.
Hello there, fine sir.
Hello there. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Now, like this was like we're here to talk about issue 11. And yes,
Thanks,
Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Yes, we've got to congratulate Jared on 1K. So, because of that, we're going to do a celebration. And the only way to celebrate is only in a Zack Snyder way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank
Zack
you.
Snyder.
Thank you.
Zack Snyder way of congratulating you. Anyway, let's talk about issue 11, shall we?
Okay. So, let me do it previously on because it's been a while since we touched this series. So, the
Yes.
League is fighting an individual named David Graves, who was, let's say, part of the collateral damage during the original Darkseid invasion.
Mhm.
And the League are currently after Steve Trevor because in addition to being a completely useless character, he's been captured by David Graves. So they're trying to find him. And the thing about Graves is that I don't know why. There you go. It's back. So the League are being like attacked by Graves, and what he does is he kind of brings out their innermost demons, if you will. Like with Batman, it's about his parents being killed. And what's cool about this, Batman just goes, bury it, Bruce. Because Batman is so, like, has such mental fortitude. Because obviously, fighting Scarecrow, he's already encountered this same hallucination before. So he's like, nope, bury it, Bruce. It's a hallucination. Just get back to get the crazy train rolling. And then he eventually, like, he gets the rest of the League out because he's Batman. And then we also see David Graves is visiting Steve Trevor's sister. I'm not sure if she really knows how useless her brother is, but let's hope she does. I'm sorry, I love all my Steve Trevor digs. So Graves escapes right as the League shows up, and of course, Wonder Woman gets berated by Steve's sister because she's basically like, you breaking up with him broke his self-confidence. And I'm like, he's a Navy SEAL. If that breaks his self-confidence, what? Again, this is why I hate this character so much. Because do you know what he is? Here's the perfect way to describe it. Yes, thank you, Daniel. She is completely hot. Hey, what's up, Sean? Steve Trevor is a snowflake. That's what he is. He is a snowflake. He is the epitome of a snowflake character where the moment something doesn't go his way, he crumbles. And by the way, as someone who researches a lot about the military, I know for a fact that if Steve were a real Navy SEAL, he would have been kicked out of the team easily. Because he doesn't have a focus on the mission of the team. He has a focus on one woman that is clearly not into him, so he's becoming a stalker. But I'm sorry. I've been on a rant. I just uploaded a video about how Wonder Bat sucks. I'm like, no. Moving on. What's up, Pika? Steve Trevor was the first simp in the history of comics. Actually, the first simp is Lois Lane, but there you go. So then the league are outside and they're trying to like strategize on how to on who David Graves is, and then Batman's like, yeah, he's the one who wrote the book about us that got our name changed to the Justice League. And Wonder Woman kind of goes off half-cocked on emotion because, again, Steve is kidnapped. So she's like, I'm going to go bring him home. And at this point, she's not used to working in a team. We'll see her grow into that. And here's the thing about this. The Justice League, at this point in their history, are a team in name only.
Yeah.
They're more like people who just hang together and are a team for like public relations wise. So that's what we're seeing. Even though it's been 5 years since the Darkseid invasion, it's been a very loose 5 years in terms of the team operating. So then Green Lantern goes, no, listen, we're here to help you. We're your teammates. You can't go off half-cocked. So Wonder Woman goes, let me out of here, Lantern. And then Hal just goes, no, it's not Wonder Woman's fault. Steven Strober's a liability. Yeah, exactly. It's the writer's fault. Thank you. So I love this image of the Green Lantern construct just shattering and him being blasted backwards. Hey, what's up, Tavia? Just everything has a little glow. It's so well done from, and you got a little bit of blood because I can't imagine she's holding back. And the only thing that's saving Hal is the fact that I'm sure the Green Lanterns have a force shield surrounding them. So he gets knocked back, and now Lantern goes full fighting Wonder Woman, and then we get one of the greatest Wonder Woman lines ever. So Hal Jordan says, "You've been dying for this, haven't you?" So Wonder Woman says, "This isn't giving me any pleasure, but I'm sure you've heard that before." That is the greatest Wonder Woman line of all. Hey, what's up, Ruth? That is the greatest Wonder Woman. That's why I love the New 52, because you would only get lines like this in the younger Justice Leaguers. I'm just like, this.
Yeah.
He basically just attacked his manhood. This is on par with Superman fighting Apollo and going, "You really don't know that much about me, do you?" Yeah, exactly. Well, it's Jim Lee's art, dude. What would you expect?
Jim Lee. Yeah,
Jim
it's
Lee,
Jim Lee. Yeah.
a lot of the art from this period still holds up today and still incredible. So Superman, I love Superman catches her sword. He goes, "Okay, Diana, wait, don't stab Hal. He's a friend." Then she punches him. It's just the thing about all these images. You notice there's no onomatopoeias or anything like that. No of those boosh. It's just essentially because you know what this sounds like. But this is also like, I could definitely see, and here's my obligatory Zack Snyder reference, I could see this showing up in the Snyderverse.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is kind of funny, Daniel, because if you look at Gunn's logo for DC Studios, it's the original marketing for the New 52 Justice League series. I have the t-shirt. That's the black and white Jim Lee art. But anyway, moving on. So the problem with the League fighting is everyone in the world is seeing this. So Batman's like, teleport us out of here. We need to, the people can't see us fighting. So they teleport to David Graves' home. Well, actually, not necessarily to David Graves' home. I believe to actually, no, it is David Graves' home. And Batman essentially says it's all in his journals. So what happened was David Graves and his family were visiting Metropolis on a book tour when Darkseid attacked. Months later, his wife started getting sick, then his son, then his daughter. He buried them on the grounds, and he fell ill shortly after. And the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong. But by the way, in this universe, he wrote the original book on Atlantis. That's the book he was on tour for when the Darkseid invasion happened. So you see, everything is starting to get weaved together.
It's
and
starting
it gets
to connect.
way better.
It's starting to connect.
Yeah. I feel like I'm that dude. I'm in that meme where it's like all the red wire and the dude with like bloodshot eyes, like looking really crazy at the camera. So the Justice League show up at the Valley of Souls, which is that temple that Graves went to that gave him all those powers. And
Yes, Tevye.
yeah, it is. And so they start being attacked by these spirits, where you see like various hallucinations of like people close to the Justice League, like Iris. This isn't Lois. This is Jonathan and Martha Kent, and
Yes.
this is Hal's father. We see Victor Stone's father, and then Diana sees Steve Trevor, implying that Steve is dead. We can only get so lucky. Yeah, Pika, he did. He did know Arthur's a young man. It's just he was a researcher on it, but he didn't write the mainstream book, at least according to this. And then we get the next part of the Shazam story, which essentially, okay,
It's Black
this
Adam.
This is where it deviates from the Shazam movie, because the Black Adam was supposed to be in this. But I do like how basically they recreated the scene in the Black Adam movie where Adam's holding the dude and then electrifies him into a skeleton. That's what this is. And I just love the lightning coming out of the chest. It looks so badass. And then we see Batson attacking those bullies. He hops on the train, as we saw in the movie. He ends up at the Rock of Eternity, and then we get the variant cover, which, by the way, I love this Brian Hitch variant cover, and some Jim Lee half sketch cover, some colors, and we are done with issue 12 was the big one. Just wanted to bring that up. We're literally entering Super Wonder territory now. So we will see what's up with that next week. So that is issue 11. What'd you think, Taladia?
I really enjoyed reading issue 11. I really did. Like, you got to see like the Justice League, solve a mystery. But at the same time, they have like hallucinations, like of people that are close to them. I really didn't like the whole Steve Trevor thing. That really bothered me a little bit. Other than that, everything else was good.
I liked when Wonder Woman fights Lantern. That was great.
And hit Superman too.
Yeah, she hits him.
That would have been a really good thumbnail. Just saying, FYI, that would have been a really
bad. It's just. Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of images to choose from. It's just that I felt like the green, because that one is the highlight of that issue. And Daniel, yes, applause when he hears Super Wonder. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Oh, then you're gonna be applauding a lot next week.
Yeah, next week you're gonna be uploading a lot of Super Wonder stuff, and yes, we're gonna be talking about Charles Soule as well in that. When we cover that, we're gonna be talking about how Charles Soule came on board and whatnot. But but when it comes down to this, it's like I really enjoyed the issue. I really liked the Wonder Woman thing. It definitely felt like Zack Snyder's Justice League Part 2. It definitely felt like the old storyboards for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Where Zack in Part 2,
drawn by Jim Lee, by the way.
Yeah, which was drawn by Jim Lee, and the fact that Wonder Woman, hit Superman or in Part 2.
Well, killed him. She stabbed him through the chest in a dream.
In the dream, yeah. So it made me think, what took inspirations from Justice League and just put it into the Zack
I'm sure he did, because you know who else was helping to write those storyboards? Geoff Johns.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can't tell me that there wasn't some like, okay, so here's where we could go with this. I wrote a story called Dark Side War, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yes. So in terms of like the artwork, Jim Lee does an amazing job for this.
Yeah.
Jim Lee does well for this. But Tev is asking a question. Well, speaking of the New 52, that reminds me, do you think that the universe will return for Absolute Comics, the universe, or will it be its own universe, not taking inspiration from New 52 as a whole?
I think what it'll do, if it's not a return of the New 52, what it probably is they're going to take inspiration from the New 52, but do a lot of their own thing. I just happen to promote the new 52 because a lot of those plot points differentiate it from the main line. Because obviously, if they're doing a separate continuity, separate from the main line, why are but they put Superman with like Lois? Speaking of, yes, thanks, YR. Why do a separate continuity if you're going to keep the same plot points? That makes zero sense. Then again, it is DC.
It is DC, yeah. They might keep the same thing, but I don't think they'll keep Superman with Lois. Honestly,
Oh,
they'll
we'll
try some.
see. Trust me.
I mean, they might try something different. Um, and I can see maybe Zois. Just saying, it could be a thing, Zois.
I love how I made that a thing. I basically willed that into existence on this show, mind you.
Yeah, mind you, on this show, like, imagine Zois becoming a thing. Just saying, but
That would
Lois,
be freaking
you know.
hilarious.
But guess what? What if Lois Lane is a Kryptonian? Just saying,
Or if
that would be
she's with Lex Luthor, then the ship name is
no,
just Love.
no, 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 no. If she's a Kryptonian and she's like she takes Biora's place, just imagine that she'll be General Zod's wife. That would be
Then
pretty
Wonder Woman
cool.
could kill her. But Randy said, if DC won't, that's my idea. But yeah, exactly. And by the way, this
Mhm.
isn't us guessing that it would bring money. It brought money to DC.
Yes.
Revisiting New 52's art and content, I can't believe that some self-proclaimed DC fans consider it not a valid error. Because it wasn't what they remembered. It was a lot of the post-crisis fans. And the problem with that, they forget DC Comics was almost shut down because the sales were that low, majorly because of the confusing continuity and stuff from post-crisis. So going back to post-crisis, like they did with the worst initiative ever, DC Rebirth, that literally was like the worst decision they could have ever made.
Yes.
Ever. And essentially, that's why DC sales are in the gutter right now, in addition to a lot of things. Or, friends, basically, that's it. Not according to this era of DC and the era of DC that actually sold comics. So I don't know where you're getting that
Dep-
information besides your own feelings, but okay. Depends on the Green Lantern in question on the time. Yeah. You guys, I've read John Byrne's Man of
yes, I
Steel.
have.
Lois was the problem with that series is that then they started to de-emphasize Krypton and make it like a robotic like society, and I'm like, that's a tad xenophobic.
Yeah, but when it comes back to like Justice League, because that is the topic of discussion for today's stream was like Justice League. I felt like issue 11 did feel interesting. The artwork was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's interesting the dynamic between the characters.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, I was more interested like in seeing how things impact for issue 12 after the events. Because like after those fighting events, how will the league, you know, come back? Like, will they be able to forgive each other? Will they be able to, say, look, you know what, we were under control or something, mind control.
You'll see. You'll see. A lot happens in issue 12 and everything. Um, True. New 52 was basically a gamble that paid off short. No, it paid off long term if they had actually supported it. And it didn't. Okay. Was I, Tevia, let me ask you this. Was I talking about Future's End? Was
No,
I
you
talking
weren't.
about that?
No, you weren't talking about Future's End.
I only brought up the new 52 because it dominated DC sales for a while. Was it not properly managed near the end? Yes, even I'll admit that. But I'm saying if they had stayed the course, I think if they had course corrected, I think it would have fixed.
Yes, I agree with you. If they stayed on course and they didn't give in to the Twitter warriors, as I call them,
Mm-hmm.
right? It
Yeah.
would have it would have stayed. It would have made more money. They could have fleshed out the universe. They could have had like at least a 10 to 20 year plan easily,
Yeah, they could
right?
have. Then we
And
wouldn't have had
we could have
useless characters.
no, no, not only that, but the fact is they could have ended the universe round about this year or last year or this year. They could have ended it.
Yeah, and reboot
realistically.
it again. There you go.
Yeah, that's the way to do DC Comics. Is like do a 10-year plan.
Yeah,
Um,
because here's the problem. Everyone always complains about constant rebooting. Then I'm
mhm.
like, then you have to get someone then you should have someone specifically designed to make sure these stories don't conflict because the continuity is a mess. You reboot because I got news for you. It becomes too overwhelming for new readers. That's one of the major reasons why the comic book industry is shrinking because everyone ignores reboots, even though they have demonstrated that they save companies. Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. If it was really, if Superman was really supposed to be with Lois, and that was where the money was, how come that book sold the least? Like, not if that should have sold 100,000 copies issue one. It sold 35. You know, it sold 100,000. Superman,
well,
Wonder Woman.
yeah,
Even the crappy Tomasi issues outsold the Lois issues. So I'm like, if that isn't a smoking gun, I don't know what is. They didn't market it enough. People pirated. Could be, but
yeah.
beyond that, well, here's the thing: what these people don't realize is that guess what? The pirating comics literally does the opposite of what you want because guess what? As far as the company knows, you don't want that because you're not buying it. If you don't buy it, guess what? DC's not going to do more of it because
They're not
DC
gonna
is a
invest in it.
business. It's not a charity. You have
Then
to actually pay to get what you want.
yeah, like here's the thing, right, guys? We're not talking about the DCU era, Tavia. Um, here's the thing with the New 52, right? For me, like even though many years later, it's still pricey on eBay to pick up these comics.
Well, yeah, that too is that comic prices keep going up, which is
Ridiculous. Like
yeah.
I must have paid like 25 pounds for volume one, two, and three for Action Comics, and I paid for Superman Unchained for about £10. So that's $10 basically. Altogether,
Mm-hmm.
I must have paid 30, $40
Mm-hmm.
just for picking up these comics. I'm just like, wow, I spent a lot just
Yeah.
for comics. And I
Yeah,
could see
exactly.
why. I could see why the New 52 was like really hard to get. Like trade paperbacks were really hard to get for especially Action Comics Volume 3. I didn't know why.
I just want to address this one thing. Based on what run? Because again, you're telling me based on your own interpretation. I'm going off of what the comics actually say. Because in the era that Talati and I are talking about right now, in the new 52, Superman and Wonder Woman were a couple. You can't say they are just friends if in this continuity they are a couple. You may not like it, and you're not, and you don't have to, but you can't tell me they're not this way when they explicitly are in the
in the
continuity.
in the comic. Yeah.
I want to see Wonder Woman blocking Lex Luthor's kryptonite rays, aiming at Superman, Superman punching it. Yeah, that's what I want to see. With Daniel, that would be incredible. I would love that. Question: if Absolute takes inspiration from, they're not going to take inspiration from Post Crisis because, and
No,
they're not doing Rebirth. In other words, I think they should treat Post Crisis and Rebirth as if they didn't happen. That's what DC actually does now because
I would like to
Rebirth
see.
was because a little history lesson.
Yeah,
Rebirth was supposed to lead to Doomsday Clock. When they abandoned the whole Doomsday Clock thing, guess what? Rebirth got thrown in the trash. In some ways, where it belongs. But anyway, I'm sorry, Claudia. What do you want to say?
I was gonna say if I was doing the Absolute comics, I would take inspirations from All Star and New 52.
Yeah,
That way, that way people can be invested, because they like those two comics. All Star, great selling book, right?
yeah,
Superman, All Star Superman, All Star Batman, Robin, and you had All Star. I believe there was All Star Teen Titans as well. So there's loads of comics you could take inspirations from that line. Plus, as well, the New 52, which did well for Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Just saying, there's so many stories you could tell, right? And Scott Snyder will be a part of that. Um, but you know what I was gonna say? Volume 3 for Action Comics, finding a trade paperback was really hard to find.
Yeah, a lot of those. That's why I went with the omnibus because yeah, it's more expensive, but but it's all there. I don't have to hunt for it. I'm so
I
sad they abandoned Doomsday Clock. Yeah, it was a good
yeah,
story. Rebirth is hard to look back at without Doomsday. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
I thought there was an All Star Teen Titans. Was there, Jared?
No, there was also so the All Star line was just All Star Superman and All Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. One of those was bad. Well, not necessarily bad, and ironically drawn by Jim Lee. But I don't think they were connected in continuity. I
Right,
know All Star Batman and Robin was not actually because it was connected to the Dark Knight Returns universe.
right. But I think it would be cool to have like an absolute comics where it takes inspiration from All Star,
Hmm.
but you have like a younger Superman from the New 52 era, right? This
Hmm.
way you can please both fans, right?
Hmm.
And I just had the thought, Jared. I had a really good thought.
Hmm.
What if the absolute comics does the color thing again? Brings back the color Superman and the
That
armored
would be
Batman.
interesting. The minute I see that collar, I'm like, okay, they're going with new 52.
52.
With thank God. And here's the thing. Here's why that's a good idea. That because New 52 is very different from the post-crisis Earth. And this universe that we're in right now is basically just a post-crisis universe restored. So you might as well have a separate continuity because this is what they should have done with Flashpoint in the New 52 back in 2012. They should have made it a separate continuity because if they had done that, then no, a lot of people would not have felt like they were like thrown to the curb. Even though, hey, if you're not going to buy the book, it's like in that DC documentary where one of the Superman editors was talking about the death of Superman, and he goes, people were like, I can't believe you're going to kill Superman. And then he goes, when was the last time you bought Superman? And they go, oh, not in a while. And he goes, yeah, you killed Superman. That's the way. If you're not going to buy the books, if you're not going to water the plant's going to die. And honestly, if that means you both, but yeah, that's because here's the thing: DC likes to copy from Marvel a lot.
Too much,
This is
yeah.
the best way to do it, though. This is a good idea to copy from Marvel. Not all new, all different BS. This.
But here's the thing. The funny thing is about the New 52, it was so much was taken from it for Zack Snyder's Justice League, right?
So much was taken from it for so much other stuff. Like even the suit for Superman for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was very
Yeah,
clearly
for
inspired by the new 52.
52. Yeah,
You know
definitely.
what's hilarious? I was looking at the scene when Clark puts the Kryptonian armor back on. The thing about that is that it's the suit's not actually armor. It's the same old suit that Superman wears. It's just it has like lines and segments. That's why it looks like armor. I think DC needs a post-credit scene, and that the MCU perfected that formula. In terms of post-credit scenes, well, yeah, of course. If they're going to build a universe, of course they're going to have post-credit scenes. I
Credit
don't
thing,
know
yeah.
why that was like a doubt. Let me put it this way: if the universe goes on, because I'm still not convinced we're going to get more
Oh,
DCU movies past Superman. That's just me.
yeah, yeah. There's arc. Let's be honest with you. After the whole Tom King situation, let's just say Jared is not happy with DC right now.
Wait, who mentioned Tom King?
Because me,
Yeah. Well, I'm so unhappy that I dropped his book. I dropped his Wonder Woman book and have resolved never to buy a Tom King comic ever again.
yeah. After the stunt you pulled, I wouldn't blame you. Um,
After mocking Christianity, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with you.
Tevia says
Yeah.
because both sides win. People who like New 52 get the universe back, while post-crisis fan get the universe as well. And boom, problem solved. Everyone wins. Nobody complains.
But do you know why DC won't do that, or like the fans don't really want that? Because the
Yeah,
other part of this rumor is that the idea is if this new absolute universe is successful, they'll nuke the old universe and just have the Absolute as the main timeline. That's the rumor. I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying that's like a concern that fans have. So they're
Yeah,
more content with keeping the crappy continuity and then just not and not taking any risks anymore. And that's what Dan DiDio actually said for when he left. He says the problem with DC is that they take no risks. By David Britt brings up a good point. It comes very uncertain times for DC because currently universe is plain divided. New Superman, Joker, and Patterson are set on different universes with no connection at all. Yeah, exactly.
Xavier says, I don't blame you dropping his Wonder Woman book because, my God, Tom King's run is so boring and not interesting.
Tom King doesn't understand he doesn't get how to write a decompress, because what Tom King is trying to do, he's trying to write these long epic stories like what Geoff Johns does. But the problem with it is that Geoff Johns had stuff happen during the arcs that would advance the plot. With Tom King, there was an issue where all she did was she just talked to a kid with cancer, which is important. But the problem is, A, you just put a target on that kid's back because they're targeting anyone that has connections to Wonder Woman. And B, it's like, it's just the Sovereign talking. That's all it is. I'm like, advance the plot. Show me the fight. If you're not going to do that, then don't embark on this quest.
But I'll say this, right? I just think the way DC is going, they're gonna go down the Absolute line and watch that skyrocket. If it's a new 52 thing, it'll skyrocket and it'll blow the main continuity out the water. And you know what? I have a gut feeling something is telling me the new 52 might return.
Yeah. See, here's the thing. If it returns, well, first off, if it actually returns, that would be awesome. And the thing about it, yeah, if it's because they could like bring back the continuity. The problem with bringing back the new 52 Pure is where do you
Where do you go start?
demarcate the continuity? Because remember, it
Mhm.
flowed straight into Rebirth and then Superman's dead. Do you do it before Superman dies? Do you do what Jay Heat and I did where we made it so Superman was brought back to life? How do you do that? And how do you explain coward Superman being in the universe?
Yeah, that there's a lot. There's a lot of questions
If
that
I
need
were
to be
writing,
answered.
I would call everyone. I would have all the Justice Leaguers call post crisis Superman a coward. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Anti-Monitor invades, and you just sit on your ass." The crime syndicates show up and literally blast out, "We've killed the Justice League." More on that in a future arc of Justice League. So you're telling me evil Justice League will show up and go, "We've killed your Earth's Justice League," and you don't suit up? And it's kind of funny. It's like Spider-Man's grandpa says, with great power comes great responsibility. You have an obligation, if you have the power, to protect people. And all you thought about was protecting yourself and your family, who probably would have been safe on that farm without you.
Yeah, I'll say this, right? New 52 Justice League is so great. Like
Mm-hmm.
this issue alone, the one we've read, it felt like a new 9.5 out of 10. I was going to bring that up, right?
Yeah, probably with me, if I have to rank it, I'd say actually for me, it's more like,
A 10.
no, you know what? I'll take a 9.5 because it's fun. The art's awesome. It's missing that. It feels a
Yeah,
little. Well, I mean, it's not filler.
it's missing something.
It's missing something that gets added in issue 12.
Yeah. Pika says the series could have shown post-crisis Superman doing more under that radar heroic that he did in the black suit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Yeah,
Pika says.
exactly. Wonder
And
Woman fights are still pretty good. Yeah, of course they are.
of course, because Wonder Woman is a total
She's a
awesome.
she's the goddess
She's
of
a
war in this universe, which is
yeah,
badass.
yeah.
Speaking of
Speak.
new 52 Justice compared to new 52 Superman Wonder Woman is way better. because there's less
Yeah.
filler. I mean, Volume 2. See, here's the thing: are we talking the Charles Sewell era or the crappy Tomasi era? Because anything New 52 Teen Titans is better than Tomasi on Superman Wonder Woman, and that says a lot because that book
That says
sucks.
something. That says something.
If we're talking about Charles Sewell, honestly, I can't really compare them because they're two
Different.
different books. One
Yeah.
is more a more intimate look at two individual characters. The other is more gods fighting gods. So it really depends on what your
Into
yeah, exactly.
what you're into. Yeah. Like I can't compare them. Like it's hard for me to compare the two from what I've
Mhm.
read. Um, but I'll say this: there will be a time where we will be covering all the Justice League members' solo books. So like Action Comics, Superman Unchained, the Superman comics,
Mhm.
the Detective Comics, the Batman comics, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. I don't think there was a Cyborg comic, was there?
There was, as a matter of fact.
That is something we will be discussing that in the
That's actually a
future.
good idea. There was a Martian Manhunter comic that we should check out. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun to cover some of these Justice League member comic guys in the future. That is something that we are planning to do. Um, is to cover every Justice League member of the New 52 as as the individual books, but cover them as a volume. That
That'd
way
be
we
fun.
can that'll be fun to do and to cover that, and it'll be
And then
interesting.
eventually, when we get to Hal Jordan, we could make that a longer series and just cover the
Yeah.
entire Jeff Johns Green Lantern run. Because trust me, you can't cover that out of continuity. Wait, but no, but I've heard those are good books. That's the difference. We're only reading good books.
Only good books, Tevia, not
I
bad
hate
books.
Rebirth because instead of doing his job as Superman, he's more preoccupied playing. Yeah, exactly.
I
Coward
could tell,
Superman. Thank you for proving my point, Randy.
Randy. Yes, you're right, Randy. But I'm gonna say this, Jared. Right, the one thing I love about the New 52 era of comics is that you get to see Clark, you know, become Batman in some way, shape, or form in
Wait,
his early
Clark become Batman?
like in early years form. Remember in Action
Oh yeah,
Comics?
kind of. In Action Comics, he's because that's the way Superman was in the Golden Age. He was more of the, to quote Brett, champion of the oppressed. He was more like working for the little guy. It wasn't like he was fighting like these big gods. I don't think he was a no, but Tevia, he didn't show up when the literal anti monitor invaded. When the
Yeah.
they made that backup book because they saw that plot hole.
Hmm.
But still, no, it's like you tell me regardless of that, the anti-monitor who has the power to literally
No,
destroy
anything.
worlds. And YR, please don't insult other viewers.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. Try and be civil in the chat, guys. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna put that warning out there.
Mm-hmm.
Civil. Anyway, uh, I think we've talked a lot about comics so far. I think we should switch gears, don't you,
All
Jared?
right, I'm down. Let's do it.
So let's talk about the Wonder Woman game, because that is something.
What Wonder Woman game?
What do you mean? What Wonder Woman game? You know
No, I mean
exactly.
because we know nothing about it.
Well, let's just say there was something that I saw on Twitter that got me
Mm-hmm.
really interested, and that
Really?
is
Do
yes.
share.
Apparently, Warner Brothers are changing. Obviously, they got the Nemesis system in the pattern um in the pattern art. What's it called? WB's patterned the Nemesis system, right? As
Mm-hmm.
you know, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, they're changing a little bit of it, just a tiny bit for the game.
Really? So they're
Yeah,
tweaking it.
they're tweaking. Yeah, they're tweaking the game. I saw this like there's like this thing, diagram of how they're planning out this Wonder Woman game, of what the Nemesis system basically would be for this game.
All right, let's see it.
Obviously I have to go to the Wonder Woman updates Twitter handle. One second. Wonder.
And Tevi, it's good. In other words, what they're work instead of just copy and pasting the Nemesis system, they're kind of tweaking it so it works better with a Wonder Woman game, and that shows it's less of a lazy marketing thing. Dalen
I'll,
says, as
I'll,
I told you guys, Wonder Woman game is in development hell. Now WB Games Montreal is taking over. They're not taking over from it. It's just they're helping out, and that
they
happens
help.
all the time in the games industry.
They're helping the monolith with the Wonder Woman game.
Randy makes a good point. A hero's a mission as a hero should be his or her number one priority, not a human love interest. Exactly. Thank you. Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Go ahead. Oh, yeah. I saw this too because now we can form our own factions in the game as well. So that's cool.
So here's what it says: NPC runaways from player, faction event, faction manager, faction event, faction member, faction member event crew, faction member event, faction event storage. You play record dialogue. There's option. It just shows you how things are done.
Which
Um,
I have a theory based on this.
Go on.
Based on this, I think the plot of the Wonder Woman game is there's a civil war going on Themyscira, and you play as Diana, and she has to unite the island.
Yeah, but if you remember, this is what Warner Brothers did say about that Wonder Woman game prior to
Mm-hmm.
2021. It's
Mm-hmm.
a single player open world game. Uh, Diana will fight to unite Amazons and mankind powered by the Nemesis system.
Mm-hmm. So single player, open world, original story. Okay, sweet.
Yeah. So this is what they were saying about the game. But I thought to share, this is something that Wonder Woman updated. I was just like, you know what? Let's talk about this on the stream.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool, and I think you know what they could really it has the potential, particularly when it says single player, because it looks to me like that could mean non-live service. Superhero it can do both. It's called having a balance. Yeah, but in that Superman arc, he doesn't have a balance. He never once showed. In fact, he has to be coaxed to take over for the other Superman after New 52 dies. He is a coward. He doesn't show up when the Justice League are down to take over because this is supposedly the way Superman is supposed to be. But anyway, I don't want to get on another rant, but that's just me.
But anyway, um, here's what I believe though. I think where WB what they'll do is they'll show something for the Wonder Woman game at Summer Game Fest this year. I'll be doing a reaction stream for that
Mm-hmm.
on Twitch and on Kick, and then posting the video formats on YouTube. That's something I'm going to be doing if there's Wonder Woman game because I do believe we're going to get something for the Wonder Woman game at Summer Game Fest. Something tells me that because there's no way they're not going to keep another year without anything for that game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. I mean, here's the thing: if they want a lot of eyes on the game, how big of a watch? How big of an audience does Summer Game Fest have?
it's similar to E3.
Okay.
Uh, it's similar to E3 except for it's digital. Some of them goes to the event, some of them it's digital. It's digital. Uh,
Okay. In other words, it has a lot of eyes.
it has a lot of eyes, yeah, for different games, for both indie and AAA games. But considering the Wonder Woman game needs a push right now, and considering the fact that you know um, Rocksteady is done. Like I'm not gonna lie, Rocksteady is done as in terms of them trying to push out as much content as they can. It's like you you can't rely on them just to be the only sole DC company to basically get your DC brand out there. You need to have
No, you
you,
can't.
you need to have the Wonder Woman game there. You need to have show some footage for that and get people excited for that game again.
And
And
Tevia, they can't bring in the Sovereign because this game was probably written many years ago. I think we're all forgetting how
yeah,
long game development takes. And this story was probably written before Tom King invented the character.
yeah, this game was in development well before the pandemic. So so this is why I'm trying to say it's like I think the Wonder Woman game is very good chance of it being at the Summer Game Fest alongside the Wolf Among Us season 2
Mm-hmm.
also being at Summer Game Fest. So there is a possibility we're getting two DC projects at Summer Game Fest. And guys in the chat, make sure you guys be civil to each other, please. Ark and Randy,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate you guys
Yes,
not
please.
be, please not, try and cause arguments and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, here's what I think. I also think the gameplay needs to be shown at Summer Game Fest. Get everyone maybe a story trailer. I think that would get people excited. Story
Yeah.
trailer stroke gameplay trailer would get people excited.
Mm-hmm.
Then at the end of the year, you have the Wonder Woman game, and you also have WB Games Montreal's second game, announced. That way, people's like, "Oh, we got two DC games," and then, boom, there you go. You've got people excited. And next year, you have obviously the Wonder Woman game comes out midsummer, and then people can focus on the next game, so to say, right?
It's a good idea.
You see what I'm trying to say, though, right? You see the pattern I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
go with, right? So every
Mm-hmm.
year, WB has at least one DC AAA game
Yeah.
um, coming
And that's
out
a good idea to like keep it in the
in the
thing once
loop
we
of
able to
things.
fly. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty did they confirm flying ability?
No, not yet. There's no gameplay for it.
Mm-hmm. Wait, let me read. In Justice Kingdom Come are alternate takes on Superman. It's not canon. Every time Superman with Wonder Woman, not with. No, no, not every time. Literally new 52 Superman, dude. And by the way, Kingdom Come, when it was originally written, was the future of the DC universe. So originally it was canon.
Yeah.
So be very careful when you say every time. Because I can tell you right now, that is objectively false. Yes.
Whoops. And yes, I've got the Kingdom Come book as well. Just
Mm-hmm.
FYI, just saying, putting that out there.
Great book.
Thanks for.
Great looking book.
And by the way, thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Removing the comment. Thanks for doing that. But here's the thing, though, Jared. I still think we're gonna get this. The next WB Montreal game at the end of this year. I still believe that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason behind it. They're not gonna wait for. Uh, they're not gonna wait for what's it called? NetherRealm. They're not gonna wait for NetherRealm for the next Injustice announcement because Injustice 3 is gonna take a lot longer than what people expect it to be. So they're gonna depend on single player games, um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for for their future. If you know what.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, speaking of Wonder Woman and actually Alex Ross, do you want to see a really gorgeous Wonder Woman comic that Britt and I covered on the show?
Go on, please do.
This
Please
I
share.
think this you're gonna dig because this has a direct reference to Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Go
So
on.
check this out. So this is called Wonder Woman: Spirit of Truth. In like early 2000s, Paul Dini and Alex Ross teamed up to like tell a bunch of different stories about different DC characters. They did one for Shazam. They did one for Superman, Batman, and the Justice League. So they did one for Wonder Woman. And take a look at this little gorgeous number here. Hang on. Yeah. So check
Oh
this
wow.
out. It's the Banksy from Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh wow.
Yeah, take a look at this. And it's look at the way he draws the invisible jet. It's literally just she vanishes at one point. So Alex Ross literally
It's the
draws
blueprint.
invisible things. He draws invisible things so well.
And this is
Somehow.
why, and that's why it, it was the blue. Let's say New 52, and this was the blueprint for Zack Snyder's
Wait,
Justice League.
look at this.
Oh my god.
And it gets better. There's one more image I want to show you because he draws fire really well. So, oh, by the way, so Superman and Wonder Woman having coffee. There you go. Right there. And then there's this great image right here where, so right there, look at that.
Oh wow. That is
Just
great.
walking out of the fire like a badass. So that's Spirit of Truth. I really dug that comic.
So I got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Uh, from Tevia. Obviously, one from Tevia. Question: is what WB Montreal game for DC? Because if yes, it is a DC game. I can confirm that it's a single player game. You know, Tevia, that Alex from Podcast Now has also stated that is a single player game. So we do know that. Um, and if it's a Superman game, everyone would be happy. Um, Pika's asking British people on the chat. Old Bailey is not a bank, right? Yeah, it's not a bank. It's a prison. It's actually a place where people go to prison.
Okay.
Why couldn't we get this for a movie?
Fun fact, Britain, that's what Britt and I talked about because there were hints that maybe this could have been a good hit, a good movie for a good plot for Wonder Woman 3. Alternate universes are not the last thing I want as Lois' blood on my hands if I was Superman. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point right there.
So, we're kind of winding down a little bit. Any last comments or questions you want to put in the chat for me and Jared about today's issue? Or if you got any other questions about video games or anything, you can ask us.
I'm sorry. Does Krypton can it be used as explosive? I just
Yes.
imagine. Yeah.
Yes.
Kryptonite is very versatile in what it can be turned to. It can be turned to gas. That's how injustice happens. I'm
It
sure
also
you could turn it
it,
into an explosive.
it also happens in BVS. Just saying.
Into a spear. Yeah, I know.
Just saying, Daniel, in BVS they did use kryptonite uh gas or whatever.
Why did you say that name?
I didn't say that name.
No, I'm making a joke because you referenced BVS, so I kind of had it. Then again, adapting else is probably hard. No, I think they could do it. Zach did it plenty of times.
Yes. Hold on. Movie Theater King, welcome. Wonder Woman should have a video game style that's either free roam or something else.
I think he means what style should it have? Free roam.
Free
I
roam.
think honestly, Talati, at this point, no superhero game should be just linear at this point, unless it's like maybe a remake of Justice League Heroes and stuff. But if you're playing as one character or like even a team, just make it open world.
Well, yeah, it needs to be open world at this point. Yeah,
because you need that power fantasy. That's the thing.
Yeah, Pika is saying, it was the prison courthouse, not a bank with Wonder Woman. First seen in Snyder Cut. It was a bank. That was a bank. That
It
wasn't
was
a
just
courthouse.
filmed in the Old Bailey.
It was filmed in the Old Bailey, but it wasn't a. It wasn't a. It wasn't a courthouse. It was filmed in the Old Bailey, which is a courthouse. But in the movie, it's a bank. Question. Speaking of Superman, that reminds me, how do you guys feel about the House of Brainiac storyline? Because I think the story is good so far.
Checked it out yet.
Oh, it's a really good book. It's a really good book.
Comic. House of Brainiac is good. Okay, well, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a really good book because Lobo's in there. Anything Lobo in there, anything Lobo in it, you're gonna have
The
fun.
main man.
The main man is in it. Yeah, Lobo's in it. Wonder Woman game will be an open world game with the main quests, with many side quests. That's all we know from so far from Monolith. We're supposed to have some RPG elements.
Probably will. I imagine if they can take some of the RPG elements from Suicide Squad, I think that you could really have some fun with that.
Yeah, Infamous the series open world. I think.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, superhero games need to be open world if you're playing as one character because you need that feeling of freedom.
Yeah. So Jared, let's do our outro, shall we? Jared, let them know where you're coming up on your channel because I think this is a good way to end it.
Yep. So I just uploaded a video, speaking of ships, about how Wonderbat doesn't work as a pairing. It's actually doing very well. I'm very happy about that. And this Friday for CLD is the 1K subscriber celebration. We'll be hanging out, doing speeches, tears will be had. And for movie night, we are discussing X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yeah, exactly. And in terms of Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are going to talk about the Wonder Woman book, League of One, where Wonder Woman solos the entire Justice League.
Wow.
It's really epic.
And then next week, guys, remember there's a lot of things happening. As for me, I've got a stream with Geek coming up tonight for DC solicitations. Hopefully, if not tonight, it'll be tomorrow. But we'll be doing that. And then obviously, like Jared said, I'll be on his channel. I'll be doing the Arkham stream with him on Thursday, which is tomorrow. Hopefully, he doesn't crash the car again. Just saying. I will never let that go, Jared.
You drive the Batmobile and get back to me, sir.
Oh, I can drive the Batmobile. So anyway, also on Friday, obviously CLD with Jared, and then Saturday movie night. We are planning, guys. Big news. 10th of May. 10th of May will be the movie watch along. Myself, Jared, Ruth. Now I'm gonna invite a couple of YouTube members. Not every member. It'll be a couple of YouTube members that'll be a partaking in this for movie night with Jared from well, sorry, coming on as we watch Lego Batman the movie, and I'm not gonna play the clip because I don't want to get copyright claimed. But I'm gonna say
I'll do it. Batman doesn't do ships.
There we go. So yeah,
you know, I just realized I should have started off the Wonder Bat video with that clip of Lego Batman. Damn it.
Yes.
And by the way, Tevia, yeah, I am going to cover Crisis on Infinite Earths at another point because it's not enough time for all of us to watch it on movie night.
Yeah, that is something. What we're going to do is that we're going to wait until all 3 parts is come out, and then afterwards cover the Tomorrowverse.
Because that way we can cover the complete story and all that.
We can cover the Tomorrowverse.
But I did hear there's a Super Wonder part in part 2.
I'm not gonna ruin you. I'm not gonna ruin the mood. I'll tell you off stream.
No, I know. Brit told me some stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you off stream. Anyway, Jared, let's do one thing, right? I always want to say this to you. Congratulations on 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, thank you.
And guys, if you want to subscribe to Jared from Comics League, the link to his subscription is in the chat. Sorry, link to his channel is in the chat. I don't want subscription. And also, if you guys do want to tip, there is a tipping option for you guys, which is pinned to the channel at the very top, which is you can donate and tip me if you want to help support the channel. That is option for you guys. Every stream there will be an option for that. Tevia saying congrats. Daniel saying congrats. Anyway, Jared, as always, you get the final say. What is the final word of today's stream?
What should I say? So many different words. Oh, I know. Lois Lane is Lois Lane, and she belongs with General Zod. Zois for life. See you later.
All right, we're out of here. Peace.